It's Indiana in the morning at 9:44. Good morning to you. Glad that you're with us here today. So as I was mentioning, we have a brand new feature here on Indiana in the morning. This morning's Conservative Energy Network segment sponsored by Sunnyfield's Renewable Energy. Energy matters. Let's talk, and that's exactly what we're going to do here this morning on Indiana in the morning. Jim Gregory, Executive Director of Conservative Energy Network, with us, along with EJay Fyke, who's the Senior Manager of Community Affairs at Vesper Energy. Gentlemen, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Todd. Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you both.
Is it going to snow every time we come here?
You're kidding me. You're kidding me. I'm telling you what. This was not a bad winter in terms of the winters we grew up with. In terms of the last 5, this is a shock to the system.
Which is a perfect segue into why we're talking about energy today.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, it really is, because, you know, the way that things are going right now, you have to wonder if you're a typical homeowner or you're a typical municipality manager of some sort, is that energy always going to be there?
Mm-hmm.
And in Pennsylvania, that's a little bit doubtful.
And here we are. We find ourselves in Indiana County, Armstrong County, the region that you all cover. Mm-hmm. And I think we can all make the case that deal in energy, that this part of Pennsylvania is quite literally the focal point of energy in Pennsylvania when it comes to production. You have an LNG line that's going through Homer City that's going to create a huge project and a huge opportunity for a lot of jobs and a lot of energy production. Mm-hmm. LNG is really what Pennsylvania prides itself on. It's all that energy below our feet. But at the same time, if it's the focal point of Pennsylvania, we can make the case that Pennsylvania is what drives the country.
Yeah.
And if we're driving the country, energy in Pennsylvania, we cannot allow what's coming in a couple of years to mean that we have more demand than we have supply. Mm-hmm. And that's where we find ourselves. And that's what you're talking about, is you're kind of alluding to. And that's the importance of having somebody like EJay here, because we're also about all of the energy resources above the ground as well.
Yeah. Well, tell us about Vesper Energy and their role in all of this, EJay.
Yeah, so Vesper Energy, we're a utility-scale solar and storage developer. So we develop farms, solar farms, storage farms, 50 megawatts and above. And we're hoping to develop a project here in Indiana, Armstrong County. Uh-huh. What brought us here was specifically the availability on the local transmission lines. And then we were able to get some interest from local landowners. And now we're here, hoping to develop this project. Right now we have it scheduled as a 300 megawatt project, solar project plus storage, mm-hmm. and it can go as large as 1 gigawatt.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is important for us to recognize is that when we talk about the traditional forms of energy that mm-hmm. we are used to here in Indiana County, it's not to the exclusion of other forms of energy. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that we need every source of energy
Absolutely.
We possibly can find.
Exactly.
And solar does play a role.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And storage as well, because the storage can be paired with any source of energy. So, during the day when we're producing energy, whatever we don't use kind of goes to waste. Storage is going to really help, solve that issue where we can start capturing that extra energy. And hopefully, over the years, that'll help stabilize our prices.
That's a part of the formula that I think is hardest for most folks to understand, is how do we go about storing? We have the picture of the huge batteries that are 10 stories high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the way we sort of picture it in our minds.
Yep. Yeah, the ones that we're looking at are more, the simplest way would be think of storage containers. Obviously much more technical with HVAC systems and safety systems, but essentially, we're talking containers that are storing and housing racks of batteries mm-hmm. That we're using every single day, kind of very similar to the batteries in our iPhones.
Yeah. But Jim, one of the interesting things mm-hmm. is that, we might look at that and say, well, yeah, I guess there must be a need to store this stuff, but mm-hmm. it's a tremendous resource that you just can't afford to let something like that go by.
Especially in a state like Pennsylvania, where sunshine can be at a premium.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we have it and we don't want to lose it, we've got to store it. And what's amazing is the technology that advancements are taking place as we speak, not just in solar panels, but also in battery storage and the chemical makeup of batteries that mm-hmm. we are used to. We're used to the kind of batteries that people talk about negatively with a Tesla and how difficult they are when they combust.
Yeah.
But the opportunity now to develop batteries right here in the United States, a project actually coming up in West Virginia. There's currently one in California that involves a chemical makeup that does not combust as easily and is much safer. But that kind of battery storage is so critical to a state like Pennsylvania, because when we have it, we got to keep it. We can't, as EJay said, we can't waste it.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Indiana County, Armstrong County, and the picture or the role that we play. If you picture a big jigsaw puzzle, right there in the center of it, you're going to find Indiana County. If you're talking energy for this entire region and not just Pennsylvania, but all of the states surrounding us as well. Indiana County's right there in the middle of all of that. The governor proposed something a couple of weeks ago having to do with his concept for what the grid looks like in the future. Others have their own ideas of what the grid will look like in the future. It's not as simple as I'm going to unplug my 100-foot extension cord and plug your 100-foot extension cord in. It's a really complicated thing, but you cannot pull something like Indiana County, Armstrong County out of that mix and expect that you're going to have reliable energy. We're just too vital.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you produce so much energy, as Jim said. I think Pennsylvania, we're the second largest provider of energy in America, behind Texas. So, to maintain that with what's coming, the data centers of the future, AI, electric charging, we need to make sure that we're being proactive and not reactive. So we need to build this stuff today for what's coming in the future. And that's everything. We need all forms of energy, and we don't come in here thinking that solar and storage can provide all this. We know that it can't, but we can help fill some of these gaps.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do.
Where did Vesper Energy get its start?
Yeah, so Vesper started under Lend-Lease. They're a pretty large international construction firm. They had a renewable energy division that just grew very rapidly, and then Lend-Lease ended up selling them off to Vesper Energy. Now we've been Vesper Energy, I believe since 2018, operating as Vesper Energy. We have about 49 projects in development across the country right now.
Yeah. I love science fiction movies because they take us into the future and they show us what it could look like.
Yes.
And we wonder about what it will look like. But we're at the beginning stages of something that could be really exciting in terms of the overall electric grid. But our role inside that grid. Jim, it's so important.
It is so important. And it's also important that we recognize here in Indiana, Armstrong County, that you have the majority leader for the state Senate in Joe Pittman here, and you have the appropriations minority chair in Jim Struzzi, such good representatives and such good advocates for this district and for their districts. And what we see politically right now in Pennsylvania is this sort of standoff between the governor and the legislature. We know that for us, the Conservative Energy Network, and the representatives that I just mentioned, for them, the carbon tax that Governor Shapiro has expressed, replacing Reggie, because we don't know what's going to happen with that, and the state Supreme Court doesn't seem to want to take that on. But when I hear Senator Pittman say that those two things from the governor are non-starters, and what we're seeing legislatively happen so far in Pennsylvania has been a little bit slow out of the gate. We've also got to bring that into the picture to make sure that we're making Pennsylvania a very much more friendly place to want to do business for energy companies as well.
The Commonwealth Court decision that came down that put the brakes on Reggie, that is still, of course, on appeal, and the governor would like to do away with that decision and open up Reggie all over again. And the disastrous effect it's already had, as Joe Pittman will tell us, it's already had a very, very bad effect on Indiana County, just in the number of jobs that go away because companies say, what it could be changing in Pennsylvania, we don't want to do business there. And we've already seen jobs disappear here in Indiana County. So from the local citizenry here in Indiana County, in Armstrong County, the entire region, you look at that, you look at the future of fossil fuels and whether our governance is going to allow that to continue. We realize how precarious that situation becomes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we can't, as Jim said, we can't just, it's not as easy as just plugging into another outlet and switching the source. So, I think we need to have thoughtful conversations and not exclude any form of power generation, at this time, and get us to where we need so that we are providing enough for the future generations to come in so that we can continue to lead.
Todd, if I may, I'm just going to jump in here and just let you know that Energy Matters, Let's Talk, the title of our segment. In Pennsylvania, everybody is talking about energy. And it's probably the number one priority for the governor and our legislature. And I'm confident that at some point, all of that is going to break free, and that the people of Pennsylvania are going to experience the benefits of all of the energy conversations that we're having, because we're all focused on it. SenPA, we're focused on it for taxpayers and ratepayers, and we're all one of those, or both. And so I think eventually something good is going to happen for Pennsylvania on that front.
We see how much energy is going to be required in the future with all of the computing power that is going to be drawing off our energy sources. Virginia is going to be one of the biggest consumers of all of the states in this part of the country. It already is. That's not going to slow down.
Because of call centers and AI.
Yeah.
They've built some incredible call center facilities down there, and they've actually started to permeate into suburban areas, and those folks are starting to experience what that looks like. To your point, yeah, it is one of the biggest in Virginia, absolutely.
Yeah. EJ, tell us your hopes and dreams for solar.
Yeah, so my hopes and dreams for Indiana and Armstrong County would be to develop this project here, get it built, execute our community benefit agreements, and infuse money into the local economy, bring a nice tax base to the area, and build a project that the community's proud of and they're happy with. That's our biggest thing, is we want to come in here and become a community partner. We don't want to become a faceless corporation. So really that's what our goal is to build this project with, the community in mind, the stakeholders, and make sure that everybody feels like they've had a say and they've had their questions answered.
And people, of course, listening to this segment and every month when Conservative Energy Network
Thursday
is on
every
with
month,
us, people listening to this segment are going to say, well, how do I follow this? How do I follow up on it? What's the source I'm going to go to that's going to give me the most accurate information and up to date too?
Yeah. So you can follow us on our website and Facebook pages, sunnyfieldsrenewableenergy.com, Sunnyfields Renewable Facebook pages, but also be on the lookout. We'll be hosting multiple open houses over the course of the next year. We'll be getting involved with, different events, sponsoring events. And also another way to get involved, we have a grant program, our community giving program, that we just wrapped up our first quarter on, February 10th was our deadline, but our next deadline will be May 10th. And that is for any local organization, Girl Scouts, YMCA, can be a local sports team. We have community giving funds available for your organization, and it's a revolving fund that you can apply every quarter. We give out $15,000 a quarter.
Yeah. Same question, Jim, for folks.
Thank you.
who
I just
know.
want to dovetail off of that. This is the difference that you see, and I give Vesper so much credit for recognizing the need to come into communities and not be a faceless corporation, to come in. That's why we're doing this. We want people to know that we are here, and if they have questions that they want to have as part of this show, send us those questions to your website as well. And SenPA is our, CENPA is our website, and we also have a Facebook page, and I encourage people to go to that as well. But we want to hear from community members. We love hearing from people that are maybe negative about these kinds of projects, or they have concerns, because we can't deal with those unless we know what they are, and we really encourage hearing from those folks as much as anybody.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thanks so much
Thanks,
for
Todd.
visiting this morning. Jim Gregory, EJay Fyke with us here this morning on Indiana in the Morning. And information is so important in this whole equation. So we want to make sure that you get it as often and as accurately as you possibly can. This morning's Conservative Energy Network segment sponsored by Sunnyfields Renewable Energy. Energy matters. Let's talk. It's Indiana in the Morning. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Fox News next. Josh, a brief look at our news, and then it's on to the Brian Kilmeade Show.